What's up, everyone? This is 2XTheDope, a podcast where I talk about anything and everything going on in today's life. So stay tuned, because we in for a ride. Let's go. What is up, everybody? It's your boy, Ricky. 2XTheDope is the podcast. You know what it is. Today we're going to start off the podcast a little different. I'm going to start off with a little story. Here we go. It goes like this, right? It's 3 a.m. in the middle of the night. And you're obviously, any normal person is going to be knocked the fuck out at 3 a.m. I am, unless you're a fucking vampire or some weird shit and you want to stay awake. Whatever, or you're a fucking gamer, you're a nerd, doesn't matter. Me, I'm knocked the fuck out by fucking like 9:30, 10 o'clock, right? So, 3 a.m., middle of the night, let's say you're sleeping and you hear a noise downstairs. So, obviously you're startled. Yo, what the fuck is that? You know, it's just you and your girl, your wife, or it's you and your husband, vice versa, whatever. Or shit, you can even be alone by yourself. You could be a female by yourself. You could be a male by yourself. What do you do? What is your first instinct? What's the first thing that crosses your mind when you hear something like that? I can tell you my opinion. I'll tell you this. If I'm alone, my first instinct is obviously to check out what's going on downstairs, right? So, the second question to this story would be, how do you defend yourself, right? So if you hear something, do you go downstairs unarmed? Or do you go downstairs with your side piece? And now y'all thinking side piece, I ain't talking about the girls. Yeah, I mean, that's another story. I'm talking about, if you have a gun, do you go down with your gun? Or if you don't have a gun in your room, do you go down with a bat? Or, something that you can grab onto that firmly? What do you do? Me, I'd probably just grab the closest thing I could. Whatever. What do you do? A lot of my coworkers, I have a lot of friends, I have a lot of family members that do have weapons, that do have a lot of guns. And, I'm sure that's what they'll do. That's the first thing they'll do is grab a gun, go downstairs and make sure nobody's doing some slick shit, right? Which is obvious, you know what I mean? You're going to want to grab that gun because it makes you feel safe, right? But let's say, just for argument's sake, you don't have the gun with you in your room. Or, shit, you have the gun but don't have the fucking bullets, right? What do you do? Now, that leads to my question for the podcast. Do we, as people, need some sort of protection to defend our home? Right? And I'm not talking about fucking security cameras. I ain't talking about fucking trip sensors and none of that weird shit. This isn't fucking a movie. We're not movies. There's this guy at my job, right? It's a side story. There's a guy at my job who explains everything with a movie. This motherfucker said he hunts boars. And I'm like, motherfucker, that's Rambo. Stop. You ain't slick. I know what the fuck he talking about. Stop that shit. He's full of shit. He lies. He knows karate, all that extra bullshit. Doesn't matter. Side story. But I'm pretty sure if I would ask him this question, he'd be there. Oh, yeah, man. I'd grab my gun and I'd shoot somebody in the fucking face and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Fuck him. But I'm asking y'all, right? I'm asking I was going to say innocent people. I'm asking you guys, honest people, right? What are you going to do? Right? How do you defend your home? Are you going to go downstairs, Are you going to get out of bed quietly, or are you just going to get out of bed normally like you always do and just go check? But you see somebody downstairs, right? And someone's trying to rob your shit. Do you grab a gun? Do you grab a knife? You know what I'm saying? I know I got some Spanish motherfuckers in my podcast. Y'all motherfuckers grab a machete or something? Like, what y'all doing, man? You know what I mean? You grab, a chancla, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? You tell me. Shit. Y'all don't know the power of a chancla, man. That shit, that shit fuck around, motherfucking kill a nigga. You never know. But, what do you do? Do we need some sort of protection to defend ourselves? I think we do. I personally think that every American should have a gun. Under certain circumstances, you know what I'm saying? You can't be a fucking convicted killer with a gun and shit, obviously. You know what I mean? Let's be real out here, people. We ain't stupid. I'm hoping that people that follow me ain't stupid either, or listening to this podcast ain't fucking stupid. But, how do you defend your home? My pops always told me, right? He said, there's little things to defending your home, and you know what? He never really told me like that, but he always hit everybody has a dad. Everybody's dad tells them, you know what I'm saying? Like little hints and shit or whatever. Or they got a father figure that hits them with like little hints and shit, right? In their life. Like my pops, he would always tell me whenever I left his crib, he'd be like, yo, son, like, lock the gate. And I'm like, man, Pops, man, fuck that gate, man. He's like, man, lock that gate, son. And I never wondered why, right? And then one day I was like, yo, Pops, why do you want me to lock the gate for? And he's like, because, when you leave the gate unlocked, that's like an invitation for somebody to come in and do as they please in my house. He said, I don't want no motherfucker in my house that I don't want in the middle of the night. And, think about that shit now. It makes sense. The other night I was laying in bed with my wife and I was reading some shit online. And I read this shit that I forgot, it was this fucking serial killer back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Way back in the day. And this guy said he would go rob houses. And whenever he found a house that was unlocked, he would take it as an invitation to walk into someone's home. And he'd go inside and he'd kill people. And he said when he was done doing that, he'd go to somebody else's house. And if that person's door was locked, he'd take it as, this person doesn't want me here. So he'd walk away, wouldn't do shit, and move on to the next crib. I never thought of it that way. My pops always hit me with these fucking one-liners, you know what I mean? And, now as I'm older, I'm starting to actually pick up on his fucking advice that he's been giving me, Not knowing that this whole time he's been hitting me with jewels, you know what I'm saying? Hitting me with knowledge. But, he does make sense. Everybody has that one person in their life that gives them, knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So always listen. Even if you don't think it makes sense, eventually it will. It didn't make sense for me then. Now, that I think about it, it makes a lot of sense. So what would you guys do to defend your home? Do we need some sort of protection for our house? I want you guys to answer that question for me. I gave you my opinion. Now I want to know what you guys think. Please comment down below. Like, subscribe, share this shit so everybody can listen. I'm sure everybody gonna like this. This your boy Ricky. 2XTheDope is the podcast. You know how we do. If you have any kind of suggestions for me to talk about something else in my next podcast, please put it in the comments section. You know what time it is. We out, baby. Peace.